somehow right. That's all time. That's all time.
Derek Jeter is top 3 shortstop.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. What is this? This is Tanks and Tuddies, presented by a winner and a loser. As y'all can see, I got the gear on today. It is Victory Tuesday now. I almost said Monday. Yesterday was Victory Monday. It's Victory Tuesday. Our Lions came out on top over the Pack. We're going to get into all that later, though. We're going to hold it in. Luckily, not too much college football to talk about, so we'll finish our college football talk and get right into the NFL talk and the Lions-Packers game recap. Very excited to talk about that one. We cannot wait. Well, one of us can't wait. But yeah, let's get started. Dynasty update. We didn't play again. Yeah, that one's on the back burner for a while. This new Call of Duty is awesome, and I don't see myself playing college football for a while. My dad did just get the game, though, so we might have a double update once Call of Duty dies out. But for now, with the amount that we game, it's been mainly Call of Duty. So, lots of long shots then. Call of Duty. Oh, it's been phenomenal. I prestiged Sunday.
Damn.
And, yep. Not like just Sunday. I think I played Friday night and a little bit on Saturday. But I did prestige, and I'm loving it. I will say I haven't been grinding the camos. It's just the headshots are not fun to go for. So with double XP, I was like, let me just grind out some XP. So I was just
This might be the best KD I have in any of my Call of Duty so far. I checked the other day, and I've got like a 1-1 KD.
Okay.
Which for me,
I got to check mine. I wonder if I'm above a 1. But back to sports. Locks and long shots. On the locks last week, I had a bad week. Texans plus 1.5. They lost outright by more than 1.5. I don't remember the score. Packers plus 3.5. I really thought that one had a shot. Just missed on that one, unfortunately. But we did hit Patriots plus 3.5 at the Titans. That was a win. We'll talk about that one later because that game was sneaky good. So this week, I've got 4 of them. Went 1 and 2 last week, but the more I do, I usually do better. So I only did 3 last week. We got to bump it up to 4. Then we'll go 5. Then we'll go 6 until we start profiting. Bengals plus 6.5, minus 120 at the Ravens on Thursday Night Football. The Bengals got to make a jump here. They got to get going if they want to make the playoffs. This feels like the perfect spot. It's a Ravens team that looked great last week. They did lose to the Browns, so I'm just hoping we get the Ravens team that played the Browns and not the Ravens teams that just beat up on the Broncos, who actually have a good defense. I will say the Bengals' only trade deadline move was to acquire a third running back. So not sure, not the Ravens, the Bengals. Did I say the Bengals?
Yeah, the Bengals.
Yeah, they acquired Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, but Zach Moss is out for the year.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
I'm just a little bit upset because I have Chase Brown, and he was finally like doing some shit in fantasy. I've been holding on to him for weeks and weeks, and now he's
still RB1. No.
He's going to get sniped. Bears minus 6.5 versus the Pats. This is a sloppy pick. It's probably a bad pick, but the Bears are due. They looked great at times. They've looked very poor. And the Pats actually did just look okay last week. They're fun with Drake May on the field, but I got to hope with the Bears being at home, they can go ahead and win this game by 7. I think they win by 10-14. 49ers at the Bucks. I initially had the Bucks, and then I remembered that McCaffrey is likely to be back this week. He hasn't played a snap this year. I think this is a great spot. Take the 49ers minus 5.5. I think they win this game by a lot. The Bucks they competed, man. They looked good on Monday, I will say. They competed. Their defense looked great at times. But I just think the 49ers are going to turn a corner soon, and I think it's right here. Bucks got to fall off eventually. I mean, Baker is throwing to nobodies except for Otten. And then we're going with the home team, the Lions. I feel like they have covered in so many games this year, and I haven't thrown them out one time. I bet against them last week. Not actually bet, but just for my lock. And that worked perfectly. It was supposed to be a jinx. But at some point, you got to take the Lions. I don't know the stats, but they've been covering like an outrageous amount, I think. So Lions minus 3.5 at the Texans, Sunday Night Football. Very excited for that one. And then the long shots, very bad, but we are going to mark a winner here probably next week. I think it's going to be announced. I think I saw next week. The awards are announced on Monday, I thought. Might be later in the week. We'll see. Like But I think next week's episode, I will be putting a W next to Scooble's name. but I do want to wait until it's announced so we have another excuse to talk about him again. Terrion Arnold over 2.5 interceptions. He's not getting an interception this year. He doesn't ball hawk at all. He plays and the other thing too is the Lions are playing all man coverage essentially to make up for not having any pressure. And Terrion Arnold, he just punches the ball out. He's not going for picks. He doesn't really have a chance to. It is only 3, so it's like if he has 2 in a row, 2 weeks in a row, he gets a pick, we're back. But I just don't see it the way he plays defense. And his defense has been phenomenal. I mean, since he hasn't had a defensive penalty in, what week are we in now? 9? He hasn't had a defensive penalty in 4 weeks. He did have a holding call last week, but it was on a punt. But his defense has been great.
I will say this is the first time I've gotten to actually watch Terrion Arnold play. And the one play that I really remember seeing him was Wicks beat him on a route, and then Wicks just dropped it. I think he's.
Which one
I feel
was
like
that?
he's probably. It was right
When was
over the
that in
middle
the
of the
game?
field.
Yeah.
Third
I mean, that's
quarter,
the thing
think.
is we can with Arnold, I can nickel and dime him and be like, oh, he got beat 3 times. It's like you're a cornerback, you're gonna get beat. It's a good thing he dropped that ball, but
so
I can probably find more clips in that game of him making a play.
My thing was going to be: is he a better zone corner than he is man-to-man corner?
It
Because
could be.
if he's a good zone corner, then I could see him getting picks. But they would have to then move their formation, or not formation, but their play style to a zone, and they just can't do it right now. Well, maybe
when we had
could
Hutch,
now.
Maybe now, we'll talk about that later. But when we had Hutch, we were running more zone than man. But when you lose Hutch and you lose that pressure, that's when you switch to man and you put it on your corners to hold. And I think since the Hutch injury, we've ran 90% man coverage over zone because there's just no pass rush. It would just get Jordan Love had. I'm not going to get into it. We'll get into it later. I got to stop. Long shots. Last week, Texans money line that lost. Patriots money line that lost. Unfortunately, they had a good shot, but we'll get into that later. This week, Broncos. We got 2 alternate spreads. Broncos plus 3.5 at the Chiefs plus 196. I think Mahomes is hurt, and I think it's going to show this week. The Broncos had a shit week last week. Good bounce back spot. Second best team in the league they're going up against. I think their actual spread is 7.5, and I bumped it down. Or no, it was 8.5. I bumped it down to 3.5. So I think they lose this game by a field goal, or I do think there's a chance they win it outright. Chiefs are due for a loss at some point, right? Dolphins minus 2.5 versus the Rams. They're actually dogs in this game, but it's another team that they looked good against the Bills. They put up points. They were in this game. The Rams almost lost to the Seahawks, who I feel like are at times inferior team to the Dolphins with Tua. And where's my thinking on this one? Yeah, I watched that Rams-Seahawks game, the end of it, and it's the Seahawks aren't good. Jackson Smith and Jake was incredible, but Geno's not good. And I think the Dolphins, they're due for a run where they're going to get back into the playoff picture somehow here. So rather than just take the money line, I bumped it up to a field goal. Your locks and long shots.
All right. Locks. Still have Packers make the playoffs open. That looks okay. Last week on the locks went 1-2. Yep, 1-2. Texans plus 1.5 against
2 and
the
2.
Jets. 1-2.
2 and 2.
One wasn't real. Texans plus 1.5 against the Jets. That hit. Penn State plus 3.5 against Ohio State. That lost. Texans did not hit. Penn State did not hit. Indiana minus 7.5. They killed MSU. That was all there.
Wait. I think Penn State might have hit. I might be wrong. No. They lost by 7. Sorry. I thought for some reason they lost by 3.
So that was all there, 1-2.
And then you also had you're forgetting about Lions money line you took against your own team, and they won the game. So 2-2. Good week.
This week we're taking.
Good thing you had that there. Good thing you added that.
This week we're taking the Bills minus 4.5 against the Colts. I think this is bumped down right now just because of potential injuries, but I think the Bills are going to be fine. Joe Flacco didn't look that good. Commanders minus 3 against Pittsburgh. This is purely Pittsburgh made a bunch of moves today, and I'm not sure that they're all going to be ready. So maybe them throwing them in is going to kind of hurt that a little bit, hurt their game for at least the first game. And also, I guess you could say the same thing about the Commanders, but they only got one player, and it was a cornerback who I don't think he's even ready to play yet. So he's probably not playing this week anyways. So Commanders -3. Take the Titans Chargers under 38. I had two schools of thought on this one. I'll kind of explain it here, but we can talk about it later, I guess, too. Basically, the Chargers are either going to shut out the Titans and keep it low, like it'll be like a 21-0 game, Chargers, or it'll be, why is my computer making noise? Or it'll be like a 21-21 game, and this, or like a 21-14 game that goes over. That still wouldn't go over. 28-14 game where the Chargers actually put up some points.
Yep.
And it goes over. So I'm gonna probably stick with the Chargers here once we get to Paige's picks and think that they shut out the Titans and we go under. So, last one, I'm going Eagles -7.5 against the Cowboys. Cooper Rush starting this week. Eagles look phenomenal. Cowboys don't look good.
The Eagles did not look phenomenal. Did you watch a thing of that game?
They look good for 3/4 of the game.
They looked good for 2 of the quarters.
3. But
Cooper Rush, 5-1 as an NFL starter. Watch out. Watch out.
Not good. Long shots, 26, 65-1.
That's a big number.
It's a big number. Last week, Texans money line that lost. I literally called that a trap too. Walked right into the fucking trap, loaded up on the Texans for Thursday Night Football. All the Texans team props, just fully said it. Like when I tweeted it for 50 Days of Football, I said, I'm fully expecting this to be a trap game, and I'm probably going to lose every single one of these bets. And I got absolutely fucking waxed. So,
yeah.
Loss on the Texans. Penn State lost. Wisconsin lost. 0-3. This week, Ole Miss money line +114 against Georgia in Ole Miss. I don't think Georgia's that good. I don't think Ole Miss is that good either.
Carson Beck's a bum.
Yep. We're taking them +114. We're going to take LSU money line +124 against Bama. Both Bama and Georgia are going down this week. And then we're taking a parlay. Penn State -13.5 against Washington in Penn State. It's not a big game, so James Franklin can kill them. And then Indiana -14 against Michigan. Indiana's fucking awesome. So
that's a trap.
No.
Do you realize that though? So wait, is that game in Indiana?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense then. I was gonna say because
that's
Oregon
the only reason
was
I'm taking it is because it's in Indiana.
I was gonna say Oregon was 13.5, but it was at Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And Michigan should have covered that game. We'll talk about that actually now. Michigan, they looked better than I expected versus Oregon. So Saturday, I didn't watch much college football. Sid and I finally got our cider mill date out there. Beautiful, beautiful day, actually. It was. I
told you that we were apple and pumpkin patches here.
Makes sense. I feel like that's a Midwest thing.
Yeah, probably.
So it ended up being a nice day. We got some sun, and then we had a drink, listened to some live music, and then got the donuts and the cider. I'm drinking the cider right now. Actually, it's very, very good. I will say I'm sick of the donuts though. We got a dozen donuts. Sid ate one, and then gave the rest to me, and I'm sick of them. But I only have 3 left, so probably have one more and throw it out. Trash days tomorrow, but don't tell Sid that. Anyways, missed the first part of the game. Caught up through GameCast. Michigan was like in it. Did you see the first Oregon touchdown by chance? I believe I might have sent it. The one where the guy dropped the ball and they still called it a touchdown.
Yeah, I think so.
It was literally replay review. You could see the ball hit the ground, and then they reviewed it and still called it a touchdown. And it's one of the most outrageous things I've ever seen. I don't understand how that wasn't fixed. Notice how I'm not raging, though. Michigan was never going to win this game. We are too poorly coached. That touchdown as well, that was on like 1st and goal from the 2, so you got to assume Oregon was going to punch it in. So not too concerned about that. But just a complaint of you got all these cameras. How can I see it on Twitter and you guys couldn't get it right? Davis Warren, though, he looked good. I got to take back all the bad things I said about Davis Warren, about him being a Make-A-Wish kid and all these things. They didn't give him a chance to get loose and get used to the game. He came into this game cold and balled out. Let me take that back. He didn't ball out. He made some very impressive throws, and he didn't make mistakes. 12 for 21, 160, and 2 tuds. He was just feeding Loveland all day. And Michigan was in this game like early in the fourth quarter. I think they were down 11. Like they were in it. It was insane. But the coaching thing that comes into play is poor play calling. Our defense coordinator, Wink Martindale, god awful. He is just every third. He's playing Madden out there, right? 3rd and 9, he's blitzing because he heard some YouTuber one time say, always blitz on 3rd and 9. Don't give him time to make a throw. No, actually gives them plenty of time because then their guys are wide open because you got nobody in coverage, right? The other thing is I got to find a stat for it. That dude blitzes more on 3rd down probably than anybody. And then the other big one for me was Colson Loveland made a catch on the sideline. It was called out of bounds because as he went to the ground, the ball popped out when he hit the ground, right? It's known by, I think, every single college football fan in the world that if you don't control through the ground, it's an incomplete pass. Jerome Moore decides to still throw the challenge flag. We only have 2 timeouts left. It's an 11-point game. Granted, it was 3rd and 6. It would have been a first, sure. But, like, you know that he was right there. You know that that's not a catch. Why are we throwing the flag? And then the other one, I think it was just after the Loveland one. Oregon was punting. It was 4th and 4. And they were in this weird formation where there was only like 3 linemen, but Michigan was only rushing 3. It was really weird. But our D tackle lined up right on the center, which as a coach, you have to know that that's a penalty. And he didn't. He didn't call a timeout. So they got the 5-yard penalty and kept driving, and they went down and scored. Like, that's the shit where you got to pick that up. You got to call that timeout, tell him, or get him off the field, get that ball back down 11. I think it was like halfway through the 3rd. And you get the ball back, you go down, you get, even if you get 3, 1-score game. Now you're battling, right? And then the last one was we were down 31-17. I want to say there's like 4 or 5 minutes. No. There's 7 minutes left. And fourth and 2, 4th and 3 maybe. Sharon Moore dials up a triple reverse wide receiver pass to Orji. Oregon sniffed the shit out of it, and Orji proceeded to run into a camera on the sideline, and I thought he died. Like, just shit like that. Like, what kind of play call is that, dude? Davis Warren, who was playing a very good game, put the ball in his hands, right? Call a fucking regular play call. Don't dial up some trick play where you only have 2 targeted receivers. One is on the right side. He runs a slant. They're going to pick that up, right? And then the other one is your quarterback running a wheel route. You think that's just going to be wide open? Like, no, it's Oregon. They're the best team in the country. It's ridiculous. And I blame Sharon Moore, but I blame our offensive coordinator more because there's been more mistakes with our offensive coordinator. I hope that in the offseason, I'm giving Sharon Moore grace because of how good our recruiting has been the last week. We have flipped some very good guys. We picked up a 5-star offensive lineman. We're in on the number 1 quarterback in the country, supposedly. So what he's doing on the recruiting path,
and then commit to Wisconsin. So
that's just not happening. I would bet a Bucky the Badger tattoo on my butt cheek that doesn't happen. Yeah, his recruiting's been phenomenal. So he gets my grace. He's got at least a year, but you got to show me something next year. And you got to fire both coordinators. They got to go. They're so bad. This is the last long rant about Michigan, unless they do something completely outrageous or if they upset a team. That's where we're at now. We're 5-4. We've got Northwestern left on the schedule. If we win that game, we'll get a bowl. And then you've got Indiana this week, obviously, and then Ohio State. If we upset Ohio State, you're going to have to listen to me for 25 minutes because it's just going to be a Ryan Day shitting. I'm going to shit all over him. But
cheers to 5-4.
Cheers to 5-4, baby. I will say Michigan, way tougher schedule, but that's okay. We were national champions last year. We should be doing better. I also found out, and this would really drive me nuts. Davis Warren has another year of eligibility, and if he starts next year we have a 4-star quarterback who's a sophomore currently. If Davis Warren is starting over that guy next year, I don't know how I'll react. It won't be good. But Davis Warren, he earned my trust back because he looked good. He looked like my definition of a mid-college QB. He made throws. He didn't make mistakes. Our run game just really couldn't get going.
So, say, I don't know what Michigan's schedule looks like to open the year next year. Say they get this 4-star recruit in. Let me tell you, I've seen a lot of 4-star recruits recently for Wisconsin. They don't always pan out.
Right.
What happens if you start this 4-star recruit and lose like your first 2 games when they were like winnable games?
If you start, if one of them is Texas, we play Texas again next year. This one on the road, so it'll have to be if you win 2 of the first 3, because I'm booking that.
So that's the thing, though.
Probably.
Like, would you rather start Davis Warren for that Texas game?
I would hope. No, you know what I would probably be saying myself. So let's add another thing to this. Let's say we also get Bryce Underwood, the number 1 QB. I will definitely be calling to start the true freshman without a doubt in my mind. There's no way I'm going to sit there and be like, no, we got to save Underwood. Let's start Davis Warren. No, I'm definitely going to call for the true freshman. Because honestly, like, this whole develop QB things, like, why not just let him go out there? And if he's going to do the same mistakes that Davis Warren is going to give you, let him go out there and make those so he can learn. I feel like there is no better spot to learn than actually playing the game of football on that big stage.
Well,
I don't get, like, look at Nico. Look at Nico. They gave him what? He had 1 year red shirt, and now he's good. He's not great. Like, that's good with me. And I hope that Jaden Davis is good.
I think if you guys get Underwood and you don't, I don't want to say if you don't start him, because I think
we wouldn't start him. I don't think he wouldn't start at LSU either. That's the thing.
I just think that, like, being as big of a program as you are, the odds that he would want to enter the transfer portal, honestly, probably pretty high, because he knows he's big enough recruit that he could go somewhere else and start. Granted, it's probably not on the same level as Michigan, but
I mean, you got to look at it as, when's the last time you saw a true freshman start and excel? I can't even name you a true freshman.
Yeah.
Like Arch started against Buns teams and looked great, but those were Buns teams. Like, you got to think about it.
He's not even a true freshman right now, though, is he?
No, they registered him last year, right?
I was going to say.
I think you're looking back at, like, who won the Heisman as a freshman? Was it Manziel?
Raiola's a freshman, isn't he?
Raiola is a true freshman. He had some good games. So,
He's
I don't know.
Amazing, but
I think if you don't promise Underwood to start, hey, if you flip, we'll start you. If you don't promise that, then he's not going to expect it. And then if you tell him, like, we're going to redshirt you, you got to get him out on the field, though, a couple times. You got to try to do something, because what is it, 3 games? But if
4.
you tell him, hey, we're going to redshirt you, and then you're going to start next year, that's what you do.
Yeah.
And I think
that's literally what Tennessee did with Nico.
It's literally just do not break don't break your promises, and don't make too many promises, and you're fine. That's really it. That's too much time on Michigan. That's too much time for a 5-4 team. But speaking of 5-4 teams, Wisconsin got destroyed by Iowa. Iowa started a backup quarterback. Cade McNamara was hurt. Is it time to let go of Luke Fickell?
No, absolutely not. I still have full trust in Fickell. I think might need a change at OC. We've got to get a fucking quarterback. I thought maybe Braden Locke would be okay. 15 for 29 for 137 yards is not going to do it.
Not in an air raid offense.
Yeah. I mean, Iowa's defense is good, but it's just, I didn't really like.
That was on the road too?
Yeah. Iowa's a tough place to play. 42 points to an Iowa offense with a backup quarterback should not happen.
Were any of them pick sixes?
Rushing touchdown, passing touchdown, rushing touchdown. No. They just ran it down our fucking throats, which is pretty embarrassing considering our defense is supposed to be so good. I did not watch this game intently. I was at a bar and it was on a YouTube TV quad box. So I just kept checking every once in a while. But yeah, Iowa, 329 rushing yards on the day. pretty ugly.
I will say 1, 2, 3, 4. Wisconsin went 3-and-out 4 times in a row.
Yeah.
That doesn't help your defense at all.
No. It's
So,
just like I want a quarterback that can at least get a drive going every once in a while. It doesn't even have to be phenomenal, but you can't have games where you go 3-and-out 4 times in a row. It cannot happen. I predicted that we would go 3-1 in this 4-game stretch. We're gonna go 1-3, if not 0-4.
Are you?
And we're gonna have to deal with fucking Tyler Van Dyke next year.
Are you in the same boat as myself? Of let's not talk about these teams anymore.
Well, I mean,
unless something really cool happens.
2 weeks because they play Oregon, and then we have Nebraska, and then Minnesota.
You don't have to talk about them when they play Nebraska and Minnesota.
Yeah, probably not. I mean,
and you only have to talk about them if they like somehow covered against Oregon or something.
We might beat Oregon. That'd be the perfect time coming off a bye week.
I'm telling. I strongly hope one of our teams pulls off that incredible upset. One for the culture.
Deep down, I don't think we're going to, but that's exactly the time that we would beat them.
I do hate Oregon coming into the Big Ten and just rolling. It pisses me off, especially
their
like
jerseys are still fucking awesome though.
Love their jerseys, and I do respect Dylan Gabriel, but I did want to protect the sanctity of the Big Ten being like a tough conference. But now it's
still
like
tough, but.
Yeah, but it's just, I feel like the Big Ten is more just the middle of it beats up on each other, but there's always those 1, 2, or 3 top dogs that do what they want. Like Michigan, Ohio State were for the last 3 years, up until this year, not this year. Now Oregon, Indiana. I'm going to say it,
2015.
I'm going to say it. Indiana.
Wisconsin.
Fraudulent.
No.
Indiana's fraudulent. Michigan might expose them. They might expose them. Michigan's defense is still good. Oregon marched down the field, but they're the best team in the country in my eyes.
Question, do you think we're going to jump to a different conference here? Do you think Vandy is fraudulent?
I think they are a good mid-tier in the SEC, which is weird. But that's what I love about NIL is Vandy, who was the punching bag, is now like mid. I think they're a perfect like mid. You know what I mean?
I would say so. Like if you put Vandy in the Big Ten, what would their record be? I think
they would do similar things. Like they would upset. They would beat either Indiana, Oregon, or Ohio State or Penn State. If those 4 were on their schedule, they're getting 1. Because like Vandy played Texas close.
Yeah,
and then they beat Bama. Oh, who else is on their schedule? They still got LSU and Tennessee. I think they might get one of those.
Because, like, looking at Indiana, I don't think that they've really played anybody that amazing. But they're killing everyone. They have not had a single game that has been close. And that's why I think, Vandy and Indiana are a very similar team. And I think if you put Vandy on Indiana's schedule, they would probably also be undefeated.
I don't know though. Vandy lost to Georgia State.
Yeah, I mean,
so it's like they probably would have dropped 1, but I could see them at 8-1 because like they beat Bama, they beat Kentucky, they barely beat Ball State, and then they barely lose to Texas. They beat Auburn, who's been trash. The South Carolina game this weekend will be interesting. I'll say that. South Carolina Vandy. What's the spread on that one? Guess the spread. Don't look. I got it.
South Carolina. In Vandy, you said?
It's in Vandy, yep.
Probably South Carolina -4.
Ooh, South Carolina -3.5. I think Vandy.
Good at this game.
I think Vandy is only good because of their quarterback. That Pavia or
Pavia.
He is
fucking awesome.
He's sick. I think.
Well, he's where'd he come from?
I don't know. I can pull it up.
I want to say like BYU or something, but.
Shit, I'm on the wrong site. I don't know. Looks like some sort of. I've got his game log. He was in the Mountain West.
Oh, I bet it was SDSU.
New Mexico State.
Close. Yeah.
Or no, sorry, they're in the Conference USA, not Mountain West. That's my fault. You probably could
They
have guessed it if I
used to
said it
be
right.
Mountain West, though.
Oh, yeah, but Pavia, he leads the team in passing, obviously, but then also rushing.
Mm-hmm.
And if he could, I bet you he would lead in receiving. Yeah, Vandy's fun.
If Army had him, watch out.
They'd be deadly. Ohio State, Penn State. I thought this one was a little bit of a snoozer. I was just kind of checking the score here and there, but I didn't see any clips of it on Twitter after. I didn't see nothing. Like, was this a snoozer? Did you watch any of it?
Yeah, so I was at the gym when it started.
Mm-hmm.
And for Penn State to go up 10-0 early, I was like, oh, this is early. Penn State's going to run away with it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it should have been over. Yeah, they didn't look good. They scored 3 points the rest of the game. And Ohio State just played grinder Big Ten football. And that was that. I mean, there was nothing that was like, there were no huge plays. Like, Ibuka scored a 25-yard touchdown in the first quarter, and then there was 1, 2, 3, 4 field goals the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Like, it just
snoozer.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't. I don't want to say snoozer because it was still like it was a good game, but it was very much Big Ten football versus like air raid, throw the ball at the fucking stadium type of football.
Right.
So.
The only other game that had any sort of tie to being interesting was Tennessee surviving Kentucky. Really disappointing given Tennessee wearing awesome ass uniforms. Tennessee took the lead. Did they go up? They're up 21-10 in the third quarter, and that's when it was kind of like over. But at one point they were losing. They were down 10-7 at half. What are your thoughts? I only watched the second half.
So Dylan Sampson got benched for a bit because he fumbled. And that was when the offense couldn't do anything. I think it was most of the first half he got benched because he fumbled pretty early. And then I'm trying to find out when exactly it was that he got benched or when he fumbled. So it was in the first quarter with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. And yeah, so he basically did not play until the second half, which is when we started to run away. I don't know. The defense looked weird. We couldn't move the ball. It was weird. Nico, honestly, this was probably one of Nico's better games that he's played all year, which was really nice to see.
If like I did watch the highlights just so I could kind of sound like I know what I was talking about. He looked bad in the first half, and then second half he was like really good. He was really good in the second half. But first half he was kind of normal Nico, just kind of mid first half.
Yeah. He started to make some throws that were like, all right, but then there were also some throws again where it's like you made that other throw and you couldn't make this one. Like what is that? Kentucky, not good. We should have blown them out of the fucking water. But also, 17.5 point spread on this game. I almost took Kentucky. I just didn't have the guts to do it. Well, not the guts. I couldn't get myself to bet on Kentucky because I don't like Kentucky, especially after they fired me. Kentucky's just not that good. For some reason,
almost beat Georgia. Remember that?
Always close. Yeah. Kentucky's been very weird
and
this year.
They beat Ole Miss when they were ranked 6th.
Yeah.
People forget about that.
Like, if you go back, so I'm going to look at Kentucky's scores right now. 3-6 with wins over Ole Miss on the road when Ole Miss was number 6. Ohio, blew them out. And Southern Miss. Nothing that impressive outside of Ole Miss. Lost to South Carolina at home. Lost to Georgia by 1. Lost to Vandy at home. Lost to Florida in the swamp. That's fine. Lost to Auburn, who hasn't been good, by 14. And then lost to Tennessee by 10.
Yeah.
Doesn't make sense.
It's almost like you had no chance over there at Kentucky in our dynasty.
Just set up for failure. I mean, Vanderbilt's not good.
The only other game, or the only other thing I have about this game is Tennessee's kicker problem. Holy shit. He's got the yips. He missed 3 field goals. How many did he miss last week? 2?
Yeah, I think so.
He missed 2 against
That was
Bama.
the other thing I should have mentioned.
Yeah. 3 missed field goals. None of them really close either. He had 2 against Bama.
I have eligibility left. I could drive up to Knoxville. Been working the legs a little bit. Used to play soccer. I could probably make some.
Let me see how long the field goal was. So he missed a 43-yarder. You got to make that. Then he missed a 40-yarder. Got to make that. And then to start the second half, he missed a 34-yarder. And yeah, like none of them were really close. Like he's just got the yips. He didn't end up making one either. He made one at the end of the Bama game. So he's missed 3 in a row now. But he's
a freshman from Memphis.
Oh, that's why he's trash.
Mm-hmm.
From Memphis, eh?
As long as 45.
Yeah, Tennessee just kind of feels like that. They're a good team, but they're not good enough. And what are the SEC standings?
I think if Tennessee could put it all together, they could be really good. They just haven't had a week where they've done everything. They're tied for first right now.
They are not. They are in third. First place is Georgia and A&M.
Oh, yeah, technically.
A&M just lost to South Carolina. Bad. Yep. But they've got Auburn, New Mexico State, and Texas left. What's Tennessee got left? Tennessee still has Georgia. That's tough.
I'm honestly not that worried about that game.
That's crazy. On the road?
Yeah, I just like... Show up. But Tennessee has gotten up for big games this year. Like the one loss they had was to Arkansas, that was a big letdown game in Arkansas. Every other big game, like beat Oklahoma by 10, beat Florida. That was in overtime. That one wasn't. Beat Bama by 7. I don't know. I don't want to say got up for it, but I think they'll be okay.
All right, moving on because I can't wait any longer. The Detroit Lions went into Green Bay and said, "Daddy's home. We've missed you guys." Got the dub. How should we do this? Should I just go off and let you rebuttal, or should we do a joint conversation? Let's try to do a civilized joint conversation.
Well, I have to call out my haters at some point.
You can do that. We'll get to that. But I'm going to start with a little bit of a little olive branch. That's what you offer when you're trying to make peace, right? A little olive branch. Some Lions fans on Twitter are annoying me. I think I texted you this. I don't remember when. I think yesterday, but I think we are starting to get bandwagoners, and like not like the traditional sense. But it's people that live in Michigan that now watch the Lions because they're good, but they didn't suffer through all the shit. So they don't deserve to be able to talk shit like I do. I've been through the mud. I watched the 0-16 season. Don't recall a lot of it. I was only 9 years old, but I watched it all. I've put myself through Matt Patricia. I watched us waste a generational talent in Kelvin Johnson, and I watched Matthew Stafford fight for his life with us and never do anything. I deserve to say the things that I do, but these Lions fans on Twitter that one are wrong about half the shit they say, and then just like search out like Green Bay accounts to comment things. And it's weird because my Twitter, like I have Green Bay things on my Twitter, so I'll go to the comments to see what they're saying. But then there'll be random Lions fans. Like the Brian Branch hit was the big one. Let's start there. You guys all saw it. I'm not going to describe it. You and I somewhat mutually agreed that, yes, that was a flag. Probably should get a fine, but we both said shouldn't be ejected. Packers fans on Twitter believe differently. I saw people calling him a thug and all these things. But then the Lions fans go in the comments and they say things like, haha, cry some more, go Lions. Why are you here? You don't need to be here. Do what I do and just take a peek in, but you don't need to reply. And then like, Jordan Love's garbage. Ha ha ha. It's like Jordan Love is not garbage. he's banged up and had a bad game. Like that shit drives me nuts, is the just talking shit with false information. Like, I would love to sit here. It's just childish. I would love to sit here and go, ha, Green Bay's fucking garbage. Like, no, they're not.
So
they had a bad
game. I
have
2 quick things on Brian Branch. I don't know if you want me to come back to it or...
No, let's start there. It kind of fits with the flow of the game.
So I'm kind of starting to believe Brian Branch might be kind of dirty.
No.
He has a history of some pretty bad hits. He took out both TJ Hawkinson and...
He had one of those. The other one was Kirby Joseph. Try again.
Are you sure he didn't take out Tyler Higbee?
100%. Kirby Joseph was one of them.
Okay, so I saw a tweet.
Here's the thing. Let me defend that real fast.
Well, because
that's how you're taught to tackle tight ends, is take out their knees. He's not diving at him on purpose. He's trying to get a tackle. He's not in his brain saying, I'm going to take out this dude's ACL. Also, if you're going to target someone and go for an ACL, why would you go for a tight end and not somebody like Justin Jefferson or Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua? I would go for those guys before a tight end, especially Higbee. Who gives a fuck about Higbee? What's he going to do?
It wasn't Higbee. Was it Higbee?
It was Higbee.
Maybe it was Higbee. I don't know. I just there's that hit seemed very dirty. Obviously, I don't think he was doing it in I'm going to take out Bo fucking Melton. I don't think that was his point of focus, but I also don't think he's the smartest player, and probably
he's one of the smartest.
I don't know how to say it.
You're not saying it right.
Why the fuck is he leading with his head so much?
So the thing was, this play specifically, from my standpoint, watching it over and over and over again, when you slow it down, it looks bad, just like it does with every other NFL hit. It looks worse when you slow it down.
Real time.
No, it didn't. It didn't. When you watch it in real speed, it's it's a hit. He's flying in there to make a hit. That's football. It's just the NFL now has to be soft because of head injuries and because of Tua and now Chris Olave. 5 years ago, that hit is celebrated. It's a great hit. Maybe it gets a flag. But the ejection is the craziest fucking thing.
On your team.
Vontaze Burfict there is no way we're doing that comparison right here. I probably would have welcomed him back in the day. We needed a linebacker. Uh-huh. That ejection's the biggest load of shit in the world. If you're going to eject players, it should be clear and obvious, and that wasn't. Brian Branch is trying to make a play. He's flying in it. People have no idea how fast this dude's running. He's running at probably 20 miles an hour to go in there, make a tackle, and try to blow up the pass. That happens. It's unfortunate. Also, he led with his shoulder initially. It just kind of worked out. It's one of those things where the receiver's falling away, so his head's lower. He's not standing up straight. So if he was standing up straight and not falling to the ground, he would have hit him in the chest. Would have been a clean hit. It's just one of those things where the receiver fell, and luckily he got up. I was glad he was okay. I will say that. I don't want injuries. The only person I wanted to get injured was Love.
There's some conspiracies that Lions might have a bounty going on, though. I mean, Dan Campbell was on that Saints team when the bounty started. A lot of injuries. They were trying to take out Jordan Love's ankle too.
No. So first of all,
same play actually.
No, that play happens all the time. It's a guy that wants to get the quarterback down. He did stop. He doesn't see that Jordan Love threw the ball.
I don't know about that.
Didn't I see that
upfield?
Didn't I see that wasn't his bad ankle anyways? So if there's a bounty,
it doesn't matter.
If there's a bounty, it's not at the ankle. Plus, he had a groin injury. Why would we go after an ankle? Hit him in the nuts.
Because it's all connected.
No, we're not going to see this. This is terrible analysis. We're not going to do sad Packer fan looking for excuses and the Lions are dirty and blah, blah, blah.
No, okay.
Pulling up plays from last year Pulling up plays from last year that when we were on this podcast and talked about those playoffs games and you watched the games, you didn't bring up as dirty. But now, because Brian Branch had an unfortunate bang play where he hit the guy in the head, got ejected, now we're going to bring it up that we're dirty because we tackled a tight end at his knee. Nah.
No, I don't. No,
we're not going to do that.
I don't truly think that there's a bounty. I said it was a conspiracy. I brought it up to joke with you. I do need to call out my haters, though, for saying that I'm a sad Packers fan and that I make up all these excuses. Let me find the exact comment on our TikTok here real quick.
Yep, get the receipts. Get the receipts.
A win is a win, and that was belt to ass. I'm going to put myself full screen here for the TikTok. First off, not belt to ass. You won by 10, yes. Score probably says it wasn't that close. However,
Also,
my main argument here, the Lions didn't do anything to beat the Packers on Sunday. The Packers beat themselves in this game. The Packers outgained the Lions 411 to 262. Moved the ball relatively well most of the day until we got to the red zone. 6 drops, tons of penalties, more penalties than the Lions, shooting ourselves in the own foot. Looking at it from a drive-by-drive standpoint, Nixon penalty, Jacobs false start, Chris Brooks drop, get 3 points on drive 1. Ryan false start results in a punt on drive 2. Morgan holding, Dobbs false start, Kraft drop, missed field goal on drive 3, 0 points. Drive 4, Love throws a pick, horrible pick, needs to stop trying to be a hero ball player, just throw it out of bounds. -7 points there. End of the half, drive 5. Drive 6, Wicks drops the ball, results in a punt. Drive 7, Love missed a throw to Watson, 2 bad snaps, get a field goal. Drive 8, Zach Tom, false start. Watson misjudges the long bomb throw. Bad snap again. Wicks drops a touchdown. Gets stuffed on 4th and 1 when everyone knows you're running it up the gut. No points. Drive 9, no big mistakes. Guess what? We scored a touchdown. Got 8 points.
The TikTok comment about you making excuses, that's literally what you just did for the last minute and a half. Excuses.
It's not excuses. I'm saying we shot ourselves in the foot.
That's what the Lions do to teams, though. You fear us and you fuck up. Also, the Lions went in there with a better game plan than the Packers. We didn't make mistakes. We planned for the weather. We dominated. No, I can't say that. We didn't dominate. But
exactly. That's my whole point. The Lions didn't dominate this game. This was not a belt to ass game.
But it's also you can't sit here and say oh, the Lions didn't beat us. We beat ourselves. The Lions beat you. We played a better game. We performed better and we won.
What did you do to stop us the entire game?
Every time. That's what the Lions do. If you don't watch the Lions game, so I'm giving you a break there. The Lions defense doesn't really kick up until the red zone. We're one of the best red zone defenses in the league. That's when we fuck you. That's exactly what we did.
Except all of these drives ended in drops or penalties that pushed us back and forced us to punt
or
kick field goals.
Or pick six. And a sack.
1 pick six. Yes. 1 interception.
Yep.
When was the sack?
Jordan Love got sacked in the second half.
Okay, cool.
Hey.
All right. Also, I should note,
for a guy who's saying I'm not going to make excuses, you sure have a lot of excuses. You got beat.
It's not excuses. I'm saying if we play our game. No, I'm fully admitting that we lost that game. Yeah, we played like shit.
If the Packers play a perfect game, they win the game. Yeah, then they go 17-0.
We didn't even have to play perfect.
There's no such thing as a perfect game.
We didn't have to play perfect. We catch 2 more balls and we win that game.
No.
We literally dropped 2 touchdowns. We lost by 10.
Here's the thing.
2 touchdowns, 7 points each. 14 points.
You are not realizing as well, though, that touchdown drive that the Packers had, the Lions were in prevent the entire time. There was no pressure, no blitz. It was prevent defense. I'm not saying we gifted you a touchdown. You earned it. You drove down the field. But it was prevent defense. It was don't lose the game defense. It was don't let them get the big play to score.
But what I'm saying is it was less about your defense. Like, I don't think your defense put enough pressure on us to say that your defense killed our offense. Love still threw for 200 and however many yards, like 290 something yards or whatever, almost 300 yards. And the 1 pick, which was a horrible fucking throw. Like I said, has to stop playing hero ball. But the 6 drops is inexcusable, and it's been a problem the entire season. So you can't say it's what the Lions have done to us. No, it's our wide receivers not knowing how to fucking catch the ball. That's where we're running into the issues, is not catching the fucking ball.
Also, what great teams do is when they have an off game, they find a way to win. This, if you look at it, the Lions didn't play great. They played good. That's what makes the Lions a great team. The Packers played bad. They didn't win. And I will say, I hate Matt LaFleur. He's a pussy. Just the way he looks. And then I got to find out. I did some deep dive and I can't figure it out. But when the Lions scored on 4th and 1 with Gibbs, he said fuck off to somebody or the sideline. And I can't tell if it was he's pissed that we went for it on 4th and 1, or if I think it was probably a player talking shit or looking at the sideline. He that's okay. I agree with that. But if it was like to the sideline because we went for it, that's crazy. But did you hear about end of the game when the Lions were in victory formation and the Packers D-line was we'll see you later in the year, or we'll see you next time or something, and the Lions players just laughed? Like, that's embarrassing. They got dominated.
So, okay, I wasn't going to bring this up.
Okay.
It should be noted our 2 top corners were out in Jair Alexander and Evan Williams.
Lions were missing the best pass rusher in the NFL.
That's why I said I wasn't going to bring it up.
And the replacement rusher.
We also were using a backup center, hence the however many bad snaps in the second half.
If you listen, though, Tom Brady did tell me that Jordan Love needs to make an adjustment when those snaps are low, and he didn't. He needs to turn his body to the ball and catch it. Instead, he was still in that little offset stance. And Tom Brady, greatest quarterback of all time, blamed Jordan Love.
It's
like the snaps
he didn't necessarily. They were pretty bad.
They were low. They were at his knee.
You also have to consider with him being injured too. Like, that doesn't help anything. Like I said, I'm not making excuses. We lost this game fair and square. We played like shit. I do think the game in Detroit is going to be 10 times better than this if we're all healthy. I truly wanted 21. This game. I wanted everybody to be healthy for this game. Your team, our team, no injuries in the game, whatever. I wanted this to be best on best. Let's get a super competitive game. It wasn't that. We didn't play good. Jordan Love couldn't move out of the pocket, and it was painful to watch. Part of me, I've been going back and forth on whether we should have started Malik Willis or not, but you can't. We needed to win that game by throwing the ball, and Malik Willis would not have put us in a position to win that game. But also, like, the bye is this week. We could have just said, hey, fuck it. Like, let's put Malik Willis out there and see what happens and just rest up Love and get him healthy. Like, he'll be 100% healthy then coming out of the bye, but
I think they probably should have started Willis, because I think that game probably set back Love more. Good thing you got a bye this week, but with the bye the next week, why not bench? And
also, like, we probably have the hardest part of our schedule coming up, I would say. We've got the bye this week, which we're going to win. And then we've got the Bears on the road. I'm not that worried about that game. Niners at home. Probably tough. Dolphins at home. Could be tough, but it'll be cold, so we'll probably win. Lions in Detroit. Seahawks in Seattle. Saints at home. Easy. Vikings on the road. Bears at home. So we still got 4 divisional games, and then the Niners, the Dolphins, and I guess you could say the Seahawks in there.
Seahawks are they're either an incredibly tough game or it's like a cakewalk. Mm-hmm. Like, they went in when we played them at home, it was a fucking shootout and they looked incredible on offense. But then they've had weeks where they look like shit. I've got one last rebuttal to you saying if you're starting corners we're playing, it'd be a completely different game. Jared Goff only threw for 145 yards on 22 attempts. Like, it was a run the ball and beat you that way. And Jared Goff, he didn't make throws when he needed to. But
yeah, I think
you get your corners back and we're back in the dome. I think the next game is more of a shootout. Jordan Love gets healthy. Your receivers learn how to catch and drop or don't drop the ball. It's a different game. It's a shootout. take the over next time is what I'm saying.
The one thing I do attribute the one big play that I think of when I think of our cornerbacks being out is that first touchdown to Amon-Ra. If Nixon turns around, that's an easy pass breakup. And I think if either Jair or Evan Williams is there, that's probably not a touchdown.
And I think if Jair's playing, that's not the play call. I think it was we're going to.
That's also probably true. Yeah,
that's the other thing I've seen on Packers Twitter a lot is that Nixon is a backup and he's garbage, and I think that's why that play was called on 4th and goal.
I mean, I wouldn't say he's garbage. He's more of just like a special teams guy than he should be like actually in the defense. But
yeah, he was a fucking all-pro returner last year. Last point, and then we're gonna have to speed through games because this went long, which we knew it was going to. I forgot my point. Shit. We were talking about it. Nixon's penalty on the kickoff. We were like, what the fuck was that for? Did the research. He ended up shoving a Lions player on the sideline after. But I will say, I watched it again too. I didn't catch it live. That was a late hit by Reeves-Maybin. I mean, he was healthily out of bounds, and Reeves-Maybin shoved him. And I think if Nixon put on more of a show and kind of like jumped into I don't know if it was the bench or the water cooler, if he did that, he gets a call. And he got basically punished because he didn't do anything. He was hit. It was late. And but he ended up shoving. I don't remember if it was a coach or a player, but he shoved him. Probably said something, you'd assume.
The encroachment call.
Yes. That is one where I'm not going to admit that it was a bad call, but it's a call that's 50-50 and it shouldn't be. Like sometimes they call it a false start and sometimes it's encroachment. Like that needs to be
they made it the other
in the
way
rule
last
book
year in our game.
Yeah. It needs to be in the rule book. Like, hey, if the center lifts his head but doesn't snap the ball, then it's a false start. Or that's the thing is you would have to make it's a false start or else teams are going to use that and it's going to be a thing.
Well, and that's the thing is like he lifted his head, dropped his ass like he was going to snap it and then didn't snap it. Because I get it. Like it's a silent count. But
I saw Lions fans trying to argue. Lions fans were trying to argue in the comments on that one that he didn't drop his ass. And it was like identical to the
very
Packers
clearly
one. Like it was head up, drop the ass. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. Honestly, I think if they do, what was I gonna say? Even if they do get the false start, I think the Lions still go, just because I think Dan Campbell was in like psychopath mode at that point.
Yeah, I think my last point on this game, I think this could have went a lot of different ways, so that's why I'm not saying that like the Packers should have won this game. Said it multiple times. I'll say it again. We lost fair and square. It's an L. Whatever. We need this bye week more than anybody. Move on. Get healthy. I am a little bit disappointed today just due to the trade deadline and lack of moves. We traded Preston Smith when our D-line is probably our biggest area of need. And we should have went and got a receiver that was available, and we did not. So don't expect us to make a Super Bowl run.
The Lions did what they needed to do, and they traded for Zadarius Smith basically for a bag of stale potato chips. They got a 7th as well as Smith, and they gave the Browns a 5th and a 6th. I also saw this was weeks in the making. The week after Hutchinson went down, the Lions were calling about Smith immediately, and they just spent weeks getting the Browns to drop their value. And what the Browns were doing was, hey, yeah, that's incredibly loud. It's hard to focus. The Browns were like, hey, the longer we hold out, the more the Lions are going to see we need this pass rusher, and then they're going to panic. Brad Holmes didn't panic. Like, he's like a phenomenal GM. He didn't panic, and the Browns panicked day of, and they said, we got to get rid of this guy. So, great trade. I'm very happy. I did see rumors we're going to go after another one, but we didn't. But it's okay. We got what we needed, and I'm ready to make a push. I'm ready. I'm scared. I'm all the emotions. We're only halfway through the season, though. So, stay healthy. Win the NFC, get the 1 seed, and let's make a little soupy run here. I'm gonna be insufferable if we make it to a Super Bowl, by the way. Those will be the most miserable 2 weeks of your life, probably. Maybe not, though. Maybe a part of you will be like happy for your best friend because I've never experienced it. You've felt it, you've seen it.
That's the thing too, is like especially after all the TikTok comments. Like, I think I might just switch to a villain role on our TikTok now. And
See,
have
but
to
if
start
if
making
you
some
switch to a
rage
villain
bait.
though, oh, see, if you switch to a villain though, then we're just gonna get in fights because it's gonna rage bait me. That'll be a problem.
Fine, that's great content.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Hey,
no,
let's fly through NFL because we are now already at an hour and we haven't even done Paige's picks. That was a great conversation though. So I'm pretty much just gonna stay scores, and then if there is anything you want to say, make it snappy, and we'll go. Jets 21-13 over the Texans at home. Like you said earlier, this was a trap, and we both fell for it. I mean, that's just insane. Back to back. There was none for an hour, and now you got two in a minute. Falcons at home against the Cowboys. They win 27-21. Cowboys are dead. They've been dead. Dak got hurt. He's probably going to miss about a month. He might put on IR.
At least they got a wide receiver.
They bought a wide receiver for their backup quarterback, which makes no sense at all whatsoever. Jerry Jones might be the worst GM in all of football.
Should be dead. Might not be soon, or might not take long now. Bills over the Dolphins, 30-27. This game was awesome. This was the other thing I forgot to bring up with the Brian Branch ejection. There's also something we missed there. It won't infuriate you, though. Bills were it was 27-27. Bills got the ball. They're driving. They got like 40 seconds-ish to go down and try to kick a field goal. And Josh Allen threw a ball left side of the field. Same exact hit as Brian Branch. It was a lead with the shoulder. The head ended up contacting defenseless receiver on the Dolphins. He got a 15-yard penalty, and that was it. No ejection. That was at the 1 o'clock slate. So, obviously, I see that with the Brian Branch thing. I'm pissed. I'm like, how come earlier it's this, and then this it's this? Not actually complaining. It's whatever. We won the game. Thank God we won the game, or else I would have more bitching. Bills ended up kicking the field goal, won the game. The other thing about the Brian Branch thing was he stacked on another 15 on his way out for flipping the bird to the entire Packers sideline and the stadium. I'm glad we won that game and that they didn't get points on that drive, because if we lost that game, I would probably have to be upset with him. But now it's flipped to one of the coolest pictures of all time. There was one more thing I was going to mention about the game too. Okay. What were your thoughts on Amon-Ra sweatshirt and how it was spelled wrong? He had Green Bay as one word.
Oh, not real concerned with it being spelled wrong. Love the sweatshirt. Are you sure? Are you sure it wasn't just like folded up on him? Where did I send that at?
No, 100%.
Let's see.
I think it was Twitter.
Let's see.
Definitely was not Twitter.
No, it wasn't Twitter. Did I text it?
Maybe it was on Instagram.
You check Instagram. I'll check our messages.
I'm checking Instagram right now.
I mean, we could also just Google Amon-Ra sweatshirt. Oh, I got it.
On Instagram.
It was text. Yeah, definitely one word.
Yeah.
No, I'm fine with that.
That's kind of embarrassing.
Not at all, actually. It's just, I think you're just trying to play it off because. That was another question I had. Do you hate Amon-Ra?
No, I mean, I think he's a very good receiver.
No, not in that sense. I know you have to acknowledge his talent. As a person and how he's kind of reignited this rivalry with Green Bay, do you hate him? Because I see a lot of Packers fans that do hate him.
No, not really. I mean, I feel like he had every right to be the way he was when they beat us at home last time. And it's a rivalry. Shit happens, and it's whatever. But, like, I don't think he's like a super, like, loud guy. Like,
right. He does everything. It's all passive aggressive like the sweatshirt and then the high-fiving only the Lions fans after the game.
Yeah, it's petty shit.
Talking shit.
Matter.
But like when we're not playing the Packers, he's not in the media talking about them. On his podcast, he doesn't talk shit about the Packers. And maybe like here or there. But I saw Packers fans on Twitter that were very openly hating Amon-Ra. And I get it. But he has a right. I was going to argue that he has a right to, because don't forget last year Green Bay fans poured beer on him after he scored.
Yeah.
So
we said it. Each fan base has some bad nuts. And
Yep. All right. Bengals, Raiders. Bengals playoff push or just played the Raiders? They won 41-24.
Playoff push, but I was going to say hard schedule. Kind of a hard schedule.
Playoff what is their schedule?
Ravens,
they got
Chargers,
the Ravens,
Steelers, twice.
Steelers, Cowboys, Titans, Browns. Yeah, I mean, their end of the season is very winnable. I think the Steelers are frauds. You got Steelers, they can beat the Broncos, they can beat the Browns, they can beat the Titans, they can beat the Cowboys. I think they can sweep the Steelers. I think we're gonna have one of those situations where it's a run the table, like Rodgers had, and I think
said it last week.
Yep. They've also got the Ravens this week, then a bye, and then it's Chargers who they can beat, Steelers, Cowboys. Yeah, I think if they if it's close against the Ravens this week, I think playoff push. But for now, it's maybe back, but played the Raiders. Chargers over the Browns, 27-10. Jameis flash in the pan was fun, but he's back. 3 picks. Also had, did you know in 2 starts he's had 5 dropped picks, and that is second in the league in 2 starts.
He also threw his 100th career interception on Sunday.
Yep. So you knew he was going to throw one. I didn't see a look at this game. Chargers defense very good.
QJ's back.
League actually. QJ's back, is he? What do you have?
4 for 118 and a touchdown.
QJ's back
on 5
rushing yards. Yeah, Chargers pretty good team. Shocking. Not really shocking though. Very good quarterback.
They should get more prime time.
I think they will. They've got one. They play the Bengals prime time, and then I think flex season they'll get some.
They're kind of fun.
Harbaugh's D coordinator, I'm forgetting his name, Jesse Minter, came with him from Michigan, had a great defense at Michigan, and now with the Chargers, he has the number 1 defense in the league. This dude will have a head coaching job next year. He's great.
Number 1 defense in the league?
Yeah, Chargers are the number 1 defense in the league.
What standards, like points allowed?
Not a clue, but number 1 defense is what I saw on Twitter. But I didn't look too deep into it. Broncos probably lost the number 1 after last week.
It's true.
Giving up 41 points. Titans Patriots. I want to spend a little bit of time on this game. Titans win 20-17. Drake May is watchable. Awesome drive at the end of the game and a ridiculous game tying touchdown. Gerard Mayo's a pussy for not going for 2.
Yeah,
he should have ended the game right then and there. But the Titans in overtime, they drive down, get a field goal, and then the Pats, Drake May threw a ridiculous pick in overtime. But that touchdown pass, for those that didn't see it, he scrambled for about 10 to 12 seconds and then threw up an absolute prayer that Stevenson went and got for a touchdown. So that was awesome.
Drake
Commanders
May,
over the Giants.
Quarterback.
Yeah, he had 100 yards, didn't he, rushing?
8 for 95.
Or close. 95.
Ramondre, them saying 10 for 16.
Yep. But 2 touchdowns.
1. Oh, yeah, receiving. You're right.
Yep. Commanders over the Giants, 27-22. Didn't see much out of this game.
Didn't watch a second of it. Austin Eckler was
Jane Daniels still probably good.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. They split. He had 11. Chris Rodriguez Jr. had 11.
Danny Dimes.
Bad. Danny Dimes, that was another thing.
20 for 26,
he had 0 passing yards and a touchdown. Did you hear that stat? 0 passing yards and a touchdown at half. First time ever. Panthers over the Saints, 23-22. Chris Olave, 5th concussion in 4 years. Michael Thomas talking shit about Derek Carr. The Saints are cooked. They fired Dennis Allen.
Brother says he wants out.
Yep. I do feel a little bit bad for Derek Carr. He kind of seemed sad in the press conference when they asked about Michael Thomas, and he said he's the only guy in my entire career that I don't get along with. And Michael Thomas said he caused all 3 of Olave's concussions, which is incorrect. He didn't play the first 2. That was Spencer Rattler / Taysom Hill. Yeah, I got nothing to say about this one other than that's an embarrassing loss, and they were right to fire their coach after that one. Who were their wins even against? I know they beat the Cowboys was the other one.
I can't believe we got so far ahead on the Saints after 2 games.
I feel like I was a little bit passive, but I did say,
but then they barely lost to the Eagles, and we're like, okay, like they're still real. Barely lost to the Falcons. We're like, all right, still real. Lose the Chiefs by 13, like, little weird here. And then the Bucks destroyed them. And I was like, oh, okay, not real.
Yep. All right. Ravens over the Broncos, 41-10. Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, very good. Lamar right now the MVP, yes.
What do you think of Zay Flowers?
Rush. He had a good week. So did Josh Allen. I won. I don't give a fuck. Eagles over the Jags, 28-23. Only thing to say here is I got two holy shits. The number one holy shit is Saquon Barkley. If you guys haven't seen it, Google it. Spin move, backwards hurdle, coolest fucking play I've ever seen in my life. And then Devontae Smith with a great one-handed grab for a touchdown.
We didn't even talk about Garrett Wilson's touchdown on Thursday night.
Yep, forgot about that one. That was also an amazing catch.
If you had to rank the top three plays of the weekend, Saquon, Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith.
I'd say Saquon 1, Garrett Wilson 2.
I thought Garrett Wilson
and Devontae 3.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what? Actually, I gotta put Garrett Wilson 1 because it was 4 touchdown, and the fact that like he barely got his leg in. Saquon 2, but it was still fucking awesome. It was just the fact that like he didn't gain anything more by doing it. Like I feel like he maybe got a yard. Like very cool, but Garrett Wilson's catch was out fucking outrageous.
That's true.
Cardinals over the
1-1.
That's fine. Cardinals over the Bears, 29-9. I have nothing here. The Cardinals won a game. Congratulations.
Yeah, Kyler didn't have to do anything, and Marvin Harrison was not
Trash.
Not Maserati Marv.
No.
Moped Marv.
More like Moped Marv. I like that.
I heard that on Fantasy Football podcast.
Lions over the Packers, 24-14. Oh, we must have already talked about that one. Rams over the Seahawks, 26-20 in overtime. Jackson Smith and Jigba, big game. Demarcus Robinson, also awesome catch to win the game in overtime.
This game was awesome. At least the end of it.
I'd caught the end of it too because it was after the Lions Packers, and yeah, because who drove down?
Wish I would have started.
They just Seahawks tied it with minute 10 to go.
I wish I would have started JSN in fantasy football this week, even though I went 2-0 in my 2 leagues.
Just to have the extra points. Because what do you have, fucking 30?
37 on my bench this week.
That's insane. Vikings over the Colts, Sunday Night Football, 21-13. Sam Darnold, first half, started to look trash again. And the second half came out and he's like, oh yeah, I have Justin Jefferson on my team. And he just threw it to him. So Sam Darnold, he actually ended up having a great game. He just didn't do shit in the first half. But 28 for 34, 290, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 2 very bad picks. But one of those was in the first half looking like an absolute dumper.
Do we think Joe Flacco old and done or just needed like a game to get warm again?
Game to get warm. I think they start him this week and he's good. Also, the sack fumble was unfortunate. That was blindside. And then he got it going a little bit in the second half. You know, I love my boy Flacco. And then Monday night, really good game. Chiefs 30-24 over the Bucks. The only thing I have here, I didn't watch much of this game. It looks like it was awesome. Mahomes appeared to tear some sort of tendon, Achilles, whatever. Goes to the sidelines. Has to be helped off the field. Goes in the tent, then comes out and is just fine. What type of black magic spiritual powers does Taylor Swift have that man couldn't walk and he comes back out, finishes the game?
I wonder if he came out and did an interview after the game and they said, what was wrong? What was wrong with you? And he probably went, my knee.
Yeah. I don't understand. So he went out. Which one was it that he got hurt on?
The Samaje
Perine last touchdown.
Yeah. Second to last touchdown.
So when it was 17-17, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So they tied it up 17-17, and it's like, okay, this dude's dead. And then the Bucks go 3 and out, and Mahomes just jogs right back out on the field. Like, what the hell? This guy's untouchable. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it was weird.
I wasn't happy he got injured. I was, oh fuck, but a little piece of my brain said,
I saw it happen, and I was like, holy shit, I think Mahomes just tore his Achilles.
A little piece of my brain
wasn't
said,
happy,
hey,
but whoa,
don't have to play Patrick Mahomes. But I want to beat the best. All right, let's fly through Paige's picks. This has been a long episode, just because of
every week.
This one I understand because of the Lions Packers. So last week Paige went off 14-1. She's up to 78-60. I went 10-5. I'm at 83-55, and you went 13-2, 94 and 44.
Tough week for
Not
you.
good to drop. It's like, how is that a tough week, man? I went 10-5. Like, that is good. It's just I didn't pick 13 or 14 favorites like you guys. It's
Not true. Not true.
Bengals at the Ravens.
Paige and I are taking the Ravens.
I'm taking the Bengals on an upset. Just I gotta do crazy shit. I'm down 11. Like, if I just take favorites here on out, like, I'm not gonna catch up. So I gotta go for some upsets here, and I like that spot. Giants at the Panthers. Germany, we're getting revenge for World War II. Enjoy shitty fucking football.
Yep, this game's disgusting. Paige is going to take the Panthers. I'll take the Giants.
I'm on the Giants as well. I guarantee I don't watch a lick of this game.
No.
I'm not waking up early for that shit. Patriots at the Bears. We're all on the Bears. Bills at the Colts. We're all on the Bills. Broncos at the Chiefs. We're all on the Chiefs. Falcons at the Saints. We're all on the Falcons. 49ers at Bucks. Paige is taking the Bucks. And you and I are on the Niners. If the Bucks win that game, I'm going to be pissed because I initially had Bucks plus 5.5, and I was going to take them for Paige's picks. Steelers at Commanders. We all have the Commanders. Wow, a lot of similarities here. Vikings at the Jags. We've all got the Vikings. Titans at the Chargers. We all have the Chargers. Here we go. Eagles at Cowboys. Why don't you tell me about Eagles-Cowboys, Frankie?
Yeah, Paige and I are taking the Eagles. Paige is reluctantly taking the Eagles. Eagles with a sad face.
Paige doesn't do her research. Cooper Rush, you got to go with the stats. 5-1 as a starter. He's got CeeDee Lamb out there. Make it 6-1, baby. That's a local legend, by the way. Grew up in Michigan
this week.
I don't know. Probably not.
At least they got Jonathan Mingo.
Yeah, that's right, dude. Revenge for Mingo.
DK 2.0.
Cooper Rush, Michigan guy, went to Central, grew up about 20 minutes from me. So actually watched him play a game. So my cousins went to the same school district, and they played football with him.
I can't believe we're wasting time talking about fucking Cooper Rush right now.
Hey, he's a local legend. So they played Pee Wee with him, but then he was like, oh, I'm never going to get to the league playing at this school. So he transferred to Lansing Catholic, and he was a stud there, state champ, went to Central, and got to the league. So I kind of know him because my cousins know him. So Jets at the Cardinals.
Paige is taking the Cardinals. She says, thank God they're doing decent this year. It makes my heart happy. I will also take the Cardinals.
I'm taking the Jets. This is a pick 'em, just kind of a coin flip, but also I can see Rodgers going on one of those runs, and their offense looked good in the second half last week. It looked like him and Devontae finally rekindled that fire, and Garrett Wilson, they realized he's a stud. Lions at the Texans. Paige and I have the Lions.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Texans. Nico Collins might be back this week. I think this is a perfect bounce back spot for the Texans, who just lost on a Thursday night. They get a long week. Lions come off of a big adrenaline rush, big game, a lot of travel. Actually, quite a long travel for them.
It is a letdown spot because of how much energy probably went into division rival. Like, we hate the Packers.
I genuinely was going to put the Lions first, and then I thought about it a little bit, and I was like, this actually might be a good spot for like the Texans to steal one. Like, if there's any team to steal one, it might be the Texans.
CJ Stroud has regressed a lot in my eyes, and part of it is not having his receivers. But if Nico's back, I will be slightly worried. I love on Twitter Texans fans defending CJ Stroud, saying he's got no receivers and his offensive line doesn't help him at all. And then everybody's just like, so Bryce Young 2.0. And that's literally what it is. So Dolphins at the Rams. Paige is taking the Rams. You and myself were taking the Dolphins because we know ball. And then the last game here, Packers versus the bye. I've got the bye. They're going to win.
Packers bye, Billy.
Okay. And your survivor, and then we'll wrap up here.
Yeah, surviving again. I've used the Packers, the Cowboys, the Texans, the Bills, the Lions, and the Eagles. Kind of got to get a little weird this week. I feel like there's a lot of good teams. I was going to say good teams playing good teams, but it's not really that. It's more like a lot of mid teams playing mid teams. And the good teams that are playing against each other, Ravens, Bengals, I don't want to take either of them. So I'm going to take the Bears against the Patriots. I don't like it, but it keeps me available for the Ravens and the Bengals and the 49ers and the Vikings, I believe, yet later in the year. So
I hope you keep going so we get one of those weird ones where it's like, wow, I have to take an underdog. That's what I'm rooting for.
I almost took the Cardinals this week.
It is Survivor with an asterisk, though, because you did lose at the beginning with me.
Yeah, it's
the first
like
week.
the fifth chance Survivor, something like that.
Yeah, what do they call that? It was a risk-free Survivor, the first pool you entered.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the episode. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great weekend. Let's hit some tanks, door some tutties. We'll see you next week.
Peace.